A blessed day to everyone. Wait lang po. Let me just prepare my testimony. Ayan. So again, a blessed day to everyone. It really feels good to be back here on stage and again, testify about God's goodness and sovereignty in my life. Now, to start off with my testimony, I would like to give everyone a quick background. So for those who do not know po, I am from PUP Manila, and I took up Bachelor of Science in Accountancy. And for me, accountancy is really difficult. And to be honest, difficult is an understatement. Because every year, we need to be tested and we need to prove ourselves capable of continuing with the program. And now that I'm in my 4th year, we have our evaluation exams, which actually determines if we are able to graduate on time. Now, to give everyone a bird's eye view of what evaluation exams are, there are actually 4 waves of examinations and 7 subjects. So technically, we have to take 28 evaluation examination and we must pass every subject. Now, each subject will be averaged, and if you get an average of 75% pataas, then you can graduate on time. But if you miss only one subject and you have a grade of less than 75%, then you will not be able to graduate on time. And so that alone is pressure for us. But what's more pressuring and what's more burdensome is the fact that the topics were cumulative, which means that you cannot just focus on one topic. You have to go back on the previous topics and you have to, again, review everything that you've learned. And it was emotionally and mentally challenging, especially that we only have 2 to 4 weeks to prepare. Now, fast forward, I was already, by the grace of God, able to complete the 28 evaluation exams. And finally, after 10 hours of studying and studying from Monday to Saturday, I received my grades. And guess what? I passed. Yes. I passed 3 subjects. Out of 7, I only passed 3 subjects. And it is actually embarrassing for me to testify here in front. But I know that it was not by my own strength, but it was God. So, sorry. I'm testifying here because I want to lift God up. And so, like what I've said, I only passed 3 subjects out of 7. But I wasn't really sad because before I've even gotten my grades, I was at my acceptance stage. Kasi nako-compute ko naman po yun eh, di ba? Kung ano makuha mong grade. And I was already at my acceptance stage. And PUP also extended a little bit of grace to us. So they conducted a removal examination. Now this removal examination will only be applicable to students who have an average of 65 to 74.49%. And by the grace of God, I still am eligible to take the removals examination. However, so it was still burdened because if you pass the exam, congratulations, you graduate on time. If not, well, congratulations, you are gonna take up another semester. So, but more than the removals exam, my hope was on the adjustment. So for so long, from the previous years, they are giving out plus 10 adjustment, especially when only a few students will graduate on time. In our batch, we only have 42% of students who will graduate on time. And because of that, we passed the petition for us to be given an adjustment of plus 10. So technically, if you received a grade of 65%, given the plus 10 adjustment, you could have 75, and therefore you could graduate on time. But we were really hopeful because they've been doing this for a lot of years already. It wasn't the first time the petition was granted. It was already granted from years to years. So we were hopeful that the petition will be given or will be granted. And at the same time, at the same week, Kuya JR preached about overflowing hope. And I felt like it was God's message to me to hope in the Lord and trust in the Lord. So all this time, I was overflowing with hope that there would be an adjustment. So that was Sunday, and Monday came. There was a meeting between the student council and the batch presidents. And they were having this meeting for the petition to be granted. So this meeting would start at 1 p.m., but me and my family were already in the dining table, and we were already praying to the Lord. And we were asking God, Lord, sabi nila, Lord, pagalitin mo na anak ko. So parang, it was really heartbreaking for me to see my parents cry before the Lord. But then, sino pa po bang kakapitan namin kundi ang Panginoon lamang? So at 12:30, we were praying, and the meeting started at 1 p.m. It ended at 1:45, only 45 minutes of deliberation with all the concerns that we have. And they made up a decision. The decision was, no, we will not give you an adjustment. Sabi po nila, if we give these students an adjustment, if they pass just solely because of the adjustment, we are simply scraping up the bottom of the barrel, and it will put the reputation of the institution at risk if we solely put these students to graduate just because of the adjustment. And of course, when I heard that, I was very disheartened. Because sino ba namang gagamit ng metaphor that we are scraping the bottom of the barrel if we let these students graduate? So I was discouraged, and I cried for 3 hours straight. And it was mainly because of anxiety and panic. Number one, I was anxious about the unknown future. Because I do not know what the future holds, and I have no control. Si Mami kasi siya nang iyak. I have no control of what the future will hold, and I was really anxious. Second is, I was panicking because I was hopeful in the adjustment. So, from the previous days, what I keep been doing is just simply praying, ganyan. I wasn't really reviewing that much. Because again, I was hoping for the adjustment. But then, the meeting conducted was on Monday. The removals would start on Wednesday. And technically, I only have, by the Monday afternoon. So I only have a day and a half left to review for 4 of my removal subjects if I want to graduate on time. And I know it's impossible because how could I review all of those things from like board examination coverage in just a day and a half? And so I was panicking and I cried for 3 hours. And then may pinainom po sa akin si Daddy na parang gummy na pampakalma. And then I calmed down. I calmed down after eating that, after a few minutes. And then that's the only time I spoke with God. For 3 hours straight, I was just crying by myself. And the only time I spoke to the Lord was when I calmed down. And I said, Lord, I know that I'm your daughter. Well, obviously, in Tagalog, syempre, hindi kami nag-English converse ni Lord. But said, Lord, I'm your daughter. And I said, if my father wants the best for me, si Daddy, I know that you also want the best for me. And if I need to strangle or wrestle like Jacob, if I need to do that, I would do so. Because I know in your word that you said, ask and it shall be given to you. So that was my prayer. And then, given the short span of time, again, I prayed, Lord, give me knowledge and wisdom to know what will appear on the exam and to know what topics or subjects to focus on so that I may pass. Because at that time, I have no strength left. I only have more than 24 hours left. And if you would look at it, it's really quite impossible knowing how hard PUP exams are. So by the time I said amen, I closed my books. I said amen, I get up and get my books and started studying up until the last minute of my exam. So fast forward, it was Wednesday, and the removal exams were already starting. And of course, I was very anxious still. I cannot deny the fact because even though I prayed so hard, I was really anxious. And so another thing that I did, I prayed again, and somehow the peace of God was within me. And when I opened my exam paper, I was teary-eyed because almost everything that I reviewed was in the exam. And I knew that it was God because there's no way I could pass or I could review everything. So I knew that it was God who carried me through. So Thursday was the last day of my exams, and next day, surprisingly, Friday, nagbigay na po agad sila ng result. So it was really quick. So I was really nervous, but again, I have no choice. I have to look at the exam results. So I first look at the first subject and search for my name, Cruz Sofia Jadel for subject, past. Okay, wait lang. For ito, guys. For ito, baka ma-excite kayo. Second subject, I look at my name, past. Di na sila pumalakpak. Baka may plot twist doon. Third subject, past. And fourth subject, past. Yan. So that is when I knew I would graduate on time. And I know, and I realized that the Lord never gave me false hope. It was because I was putting hope in wrong circumstances. I put hope on the adjustment, I failed. I put hope on the grace of the professors, I failed. But when I started to put my hope in God, that He is working and He is in control, that is when I saw Him work. And so the Lord wants to tell everyone today, as an encouragement, that no matter what circumstances you're facing, may it be health, family, wealth, school, work, or whatever it is, the Lord wants you to put your trust in Him and to know that He is in control. And so now I'm standing in front of you as a graduating student on September. And I want to thank everyone who prayed with and for me, and to everyone who encouraged me and continued to believe in me, even if I cannot even believe in myself. So to God be all the glory, and thank you so much.